Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. I am a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to 15 Minutes of Zen. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the tangle Flux. Flux was created by the Zentangle company. Today I'm using a Micron PN plastic nib pen, a graphite pencil for drawing and shading, and a tortillion for blending. I'm also using a 2" by 2" Zentangle brand tile called the Bijou tile. It's really tiny, and what we're going to make today can be made much larger. It can be made on a larger tile or a piece of scrap paper, whatever you have laying around. Okay, so we're going to flip this over, and usually we start by making a border. So I'm going to pick up my pencil, and I'm going to put a dot in each of the 4 corners of my paper. And then I'm just going to very lightly connect those lines to create a little frame for our work. We're working in a very, very small area here. I apologize. Okay, so today we're actually doing what some people call ZIA, Z-I-A, Zentangle inspired art, because we're going to create a Christmas tree or a holiday tree using the Tangle Flux. So typically Zentangle is more free form. We don't try to create a picture of something, but since it's the holidays, we're going to try this. Okay, so I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to just very lightly sketch in a nice big tree, and I'm going to let it go right over the border. Just like that. And I'm leaving some room down here for the trunk. So nice and big. So Flux is one that I use so often in my tangling, but I don't often do it as a mono tangle by itself, just because I don't really think about it. It's more of like an accent tangle. So this tangle is meant to be done one at a time, and then it builds on each other and is meant to just sort of go whatever way the direction takes you. So we're trying to do a little more concise work today, more precision than just letting it go freely. So I'm going to start by making the Flux shape, and that is a teardrop shape. So I'm going to start up here at the top of my tree, and I'm going to draw a nice size Flux shape. And then Flux has this cute little line. I like to curve mine a little bit. And then it has 2 or 3 dots coming off the end of it. Okay. Now I'm going to start building off of this. So I'm going to put one over here, and I'm going to try really hard to make mine, pretty wide. I don't want little tiny Flux. I kind of want some wide, big wide Flux shapes. This pencil line is just a guide. I'm going to let myself go right over the top of it. So I'm going to do one there. And I'm going to put one down in here, and then at least one more on that side. So this one I'm going to make kind of go the opposite way. I'm going to let it curve out that way and then come in. And then for the one over here, I've got a couple of options. I can come right off of here, or I can make it come off the top over here. You know what I mean? Like off the side of this one. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to let it go like this, like that. And it's okay to have these spaces in between. We're going to fill those in later. All right, I need another one over here. I'm going to start it right here. That one's a little bit smaller. I like varying the size of these. Put one down in here. one off to the side. And now I've got that weird spot again where I can put it coming out of this side or this side, however I want. So I'm just going to put one in there. You can see how this just sort of builds off each other without a specific plan. It's such a fun one to make. Okay, now I need to come out this way, and I really want this one to take up a lot of this space. So I'm going to start right here. And then one in here. Again, it's okay if I leave some space. So let me see. I'm going to go this way this time. We're just tucking these in. You don't have to overthink it. Let's see. Just like that. I do have space here for one more, so I'm just going to put a small one in there. And as you can see, I've filled up most of that triangle shape that I started with. And now I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to ink in my frame before I continue. And I can lift up my pen wherever I have a piece coming over that line. All right, and then down here I want to make the little trunk. So I'm just going to put kind of a rounded base on there. And now I'm going to add some ornaments, which are just little orbs. So I'm going to sneak in some orbs in these blank spaces in between. So I'm going to put a little orb in there. And then I can put some down in here. And then I like to put them in these little nooks and crannies. So I'm going to put one over here. And you can vary the size depending on how much room you have. And then I'm going to use my pen to ink in those leftover areas. I don't want white space coming through. So I've got a spot here I can fill in. And the tiniest spot where these little orbs are sitting. Filling those little spaces in. I added a little bit down here by the base. I don't know if I needed to do that or not, but and if you have spaces that are too small to fit an orb, just go ahead and fill them in. And if you have room, you can put a tiny little reflection in those orbs. You don't have to. It'd also be fun to color those in with a marker or a colored pencil. Okay, now just to add a little bit more detail, I'm going to add some fescue. So fescue is these little wispy things that curve up or down into a little teardrop. So I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put one going the opposite way. You don't have to do these. I just kind of I like how it fills the space a little bit. Sneak a couple of those in. And I'm just going to add some little dots. Keep it kind of whimsical. And then at the top, I can put a heart, a star. I'm just going to add a little curve to the top of mine, but do whatever you'd like on yours. And then around the border, I'm going to add a couple of, they look like little tiny hearts or little bows. Keeping them tiny. And then inside the trunk, you could do some stripes. You could leave it blank. I'm going to add printemps. So printemps is these spirals. Like that. Just going to imagine them kind of disappearing. Just think that adds a little bit of elegance to it. Right, I'm going to pick up my graphite pencil. I'm going to put some graphite in that top little pinched corner of each of these flux shapes. So just putting a little bit up in those little tight areas. And then taking my blending tool and pushing that out so gently. Makes those look a little bit rounder, gives them some dimension. Doesn't need to be a lot to be effective. Like that. And then if I have any areas, let me move something real quick. If I have any areas where one is kind of going over another one, I can add a little bit of graphite as if it's creating a shadow. So see how that moves that flux deeper into my picture and makes this one pop up. So if you have any spots like that, I don't have very many, but you can just add a little bit of extra in there. And it makes it look like it has even more depth. So wherever you think a shadow might be created. And then I often like to take my tortillion that already has some graphite on it, and I like to go around the inside of my border. Just like the effect that has. You can even add shading to the outside of your Christmas tree if you wanted that to pop off the paper a little bit more. And the last thing I'm going to do is add some graphite to my trunk by lining the inside where those petals come down and along that edge. And just softening that. The tangles almost disappear, but that's okay. There we go, a cute little tree using Flux. And we put our initials on our paper. On the back, add the date and write a sentence about what's going on in your life this Christmas season. So cute. I hope you enjoy it. Have fun with Flux, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.